Action of spirits on the fluids, fluidic creations, and the photography of thought. Kardec explains that the spirit acts on spiritual fluids as man acts on gases or matter. He combines, organizes, and transforms them, using thought and will as creative tools. These fluids, guided by intelligence, acquire shapes, colors, densities, and movements. Thus, each spirit is an artist of the invisible, shaping its environment according to its moral and mental state. The will is the force that drives fluidic creation, and thought is the mold that gives it form. Kardec teaches that thought is a vibratory emission that imprints image and structure onto the universal fluid. These images can be fleeting or lasting, simple or complex, depending on the intensity of the will and the purity of the soul that produces them. In the spiritual world, thoughts become real things, visible and tangible to spirits, as material objects are to us. Quantum physics today confirms that matter is a form of energy organized by information. The quantum field responds to the intention and coherence of the observer. Thought, being an electromagnetic emission, interacts with the environment, generating measurable patterns. Each emotion and idea is a wave that propagates in the universal field. Kardec already stated that thought is a living force that shapes the fluids, an anticipation of the modern idea of mind-matter interaction. Spirits create fluidic forms that correspond to their ideas and feelings. Elevated spirits produce harmonious, luminous images full of beauty. Lower spirits, disordered and shadowy forms, reflections of their passions and imbalances. These creations, although invisible to the human eye, are perceptible to mediumistic clairvoyance and form the basis of many phenomena of apparitions, materializations, and symbolic visions. The heaven and hell seen by spirits are not fixed places but mental landscapes shaped by collective thought. Modern neuroscience and psychology are beginning to explore the power of mental images on the body and environment. Experiments show that imagination activates the same brain areas as real experience and produces concrete physiological changes. The brain is an instrument of projection, capable of transforming mental patterns into energetic and behavioral states. What science calls neuroplasticity, Spiritism calls the fluidic action of thought. Kardec introduces the idea of thought photography. Fluids, impressed by the will, retain the shape of the emitted thought. Every soul leaves luminous or shadowy traces in space, which remain as long as the vibration that generated them does not dissipate. Hence the so-called haunted houses, where ideas of pain, guilt, or violence persist engraved in the environment until new forces of love and prayer restore balance. Today, physics calls this phenomenon informational entropy, and energetic psychology recognizes it as environmental memory. Elevated thought is the most powerful of transforming agents. When imbued with love, it purifies the fluids and creates fields of harmony and healing. Prayer, forgiveness, and compassion are magnetic emissions that reorganize the vital energy around those who emit and receive them. Spiritual healings and therapeutic magnetism originate from this capacity of the mind to shape the universal fluid according to the law of good. Energetic biology also confirms that the mind influences the body and environment through subtle resonances. Studies in epigenetics show that emotions and beliefs alter genetic expression. Thus, each thought is a vibrational seed that modifies both the physical body and the perispirit. Therefore, moral elevation is an energetic science. Purifying thought is elevating the frequency of one's own existence. The physics of consciousness suggests that reality is participatory. The universe is not just observed, it is co-created by consciousness. This idea aligns with what Kardec describes when stating that spirit, through thought, acts upon fluids and creates forms, colors, and landscapes. Each spirit is, in its sphere, a co-creator with God, shaping subtle matter through the force of love and intention. Kardec concludes that Spiritism explains the miracles of imagination and the prodigies of faith. Nothing is supernatural. Everything is the result of the intelligent action of spirit upon the universal fluid. Prayer and thought are creative energies. Faith is the focus that gives them direction. In God's universe, thinking is creating, and creating with love is participating in the divine work. Understanding the action of spirits on the fluids is understanding the role of consciousness in the creation of the universe. Each thought is a spark of light that propagates into infinity. We are all painters of energy, sculptors of vibration, invisible architects of inner worlds. If this reflection brought you understanding and inspiration, share it. Because understanding fluidic creations and the photograph of thought is discovering that the mind is God's brush in the hands of the spirit.